Hi, my name's Rachel, and this is my story. When did you first speak about your rape? I was raped in 2016. At first, I didn't tell many people because I was so ashamed and embarrassed, and I wasn't really dealing with it. I did tell a few people, but I wasn't really open with it until probably about 6 to 12 months later, where I found the process of telling people was very therapeutic and actually helpful to other people. So I started sharing my story very openly, which, as I said, was really helpful in me in terms of dealing with my trauma. How did this affect you? In terms of the rape itself, it affected my life in every single aspect. When something like this happens, it's the only thing that takes over your mind. So for me, I really kind of let the other balls in my life drop. So in terms of being a mother or being a sister or being a daughter or being an employee, all of those things suffered as a consequence of this rape. I was self-medicating a lot with alcohol because I didn't know how else to deal with the trauma that I was feeling. I was diagnosed with PTSD shortly after the rape, and I was trying to really drown out the voices in my head. So through self-medication, I used to play music really loudly. I used to clean excessively, anything to distract me from my feelings around what had happened. It's taken a lot of work and time and money and resources to build myself back and get my life back together. Was there any help available to you at the time? Medical counseling. So when I went to the police after it happened, when they took me to hospital to do the rape kit, there was a counselor available there. I can't recall the name of the organization. I think it's called Tulukazi House. There was a counselor there that spoke to me. Later on in the week, I was offered counseling through the police. So they have a volunteer network of counselors who I went to go see. I also reached out to Rape Crisis, so I went to their offices in Observatory and met with a lady there on a few occasions. I also saw my own trauma counselor, who I started seeing after the rape, on a very frequent basis. And that's really about it. Were you supported and believed by family, community, friends? Yes, very much so. At the beginning, as I said, I was very unsure and scared to tell anyone. But as I told more people, the support behind me really, really helped me to move forward in this case. One of the most amazing things that ever happened was when I met with the prosecutor, and the first thing he said to me was, "I believe you." And it really shook me because, despite everybody supporting me and everyone being there for me, those words, "I believe you," are so strong. And it was the first time anybody had actually said, "I believe you." So that's really powerful in terms of victim support. If someone is going through something, to be believed when there's so much going on in the victim's head is really just an incredible statement. What is your message of hope or advice to anyone experiencing the same or similar today? So my advice to anyone going through a similar situation would be to do it, to go through a legal case, a criminal trial, because I feel personally that this is happening far too often, and it's almost an accepted part of society that this is okay. And the more women who stand up and say this is not okay, and they make a legal case and go to the police and make a noise, the less it'll be okay, and the less hopefully it'll happen. It's not easy. It's been a very, very difficult and long journey, which is still ongoing. But I will never look back on my life and regret what I've done. And despite how horrifically long it has been, and how every court date is very taxing and emotional, if everybody asks, would I do this? Would I have done this knowing what I know now? And the answer is absolutely yes. I'm incredibly proud of myself for going through this process, and I'm really, really grateful to have the support of so many. And I feel like my experience has allowed others to open up about their own experiences, which, in some way I'm hoping that will, benefit their healing and help them get through their trauma.